Lovely angels, please save me from the 2021 spring anime cringe. Save me, please. Enough of that. Anyhow, I finished the TV series to Dirty Pair from 1985, introducing to you Kei and Yuri. These two characters have one of the most explosive dynamics of any kind of relationship to any kind of characters. And Kei is the short tempered, more aggressive, more kind of brute strengths type of character, whereas Yuri is the more tries to play innocent and appear to be harmless. But they're both extremely deadly individuals. Kei is extremely strong. She's always surprising men at how good her hand to hand combat abilities are. Whereas Yuri is very intelligent. She can figure out things before Kei can, to the point where it's almost like Keikatsu, but it works well. And they're both called the Lovely Angels. They work for a government program that was created to help uh, planets or officials who are in danger, and so they hire them if they get them, the Lovely Angels. The problem is that when they set out on their missions, they tend to be very sloppy and reckless. For example, in one episode, they had to stop these bad guys that were exploiting a mine, and yes, they do manage to stop the bad guys, but they do accidentally blow up the planet, killing everybody that's there. And or for example, in the first episode where they go up against Brian, the supercomputer, which corrupted, they do manage to stop it, but they did destroy a large part of the city. So they've gained a really bad reputation of being very sloppy with their work. And thus, the people that experience this call them Dirty Pair. And they resent this name. If you were to tell Kei and Yuri, or if you were to call them the Dirty Pair, they would reject it and say Lovely Angels. Or their boss is the same way. He always refers to them as Lovely Angels. And if anybody tells him Dirty Pair, he's like, Lovely Angel, bro. As you know, they're accompanied by Mugi, a genetically modified cat that is extremely strong, extremely intimidating, but afraid of mice, ironically. And a little robot that does get blown up once, but is able to be saved because of his memory card. So it's actually four people that make up this team, and they're always bailing each other out. But Mugi and the robot do have to bail the Lovely Angels out quite a bit. This show is 26 episodes. The last two I think were kind of released later on. It's a very funny show. The comedy is clever. I love it. I was laughing the entire time. The storytelling is also very good. It's not predictable whatsoever. There are some really good twists and turns. There's episodes that have some real deep meaning. They really have something to say. It's a very smart show. It's a very smart show, and I think a lot of people are very misunderstanding what Dirty Pair was really all about. The show. There are some episodes of interest I want to talk about because, and at the end, I will talk about what I did not like about it. There were a few things I didn't like about it. As for the episodes, I think the one that stood out the most to me was the one on Algernon. It's based on a sci-fi short story, actually, if you look it up. So in this episode, the headquarters they get taken over by rats, or I guess mice, and the Lovely Angels have to figure out how to defeat these mice and regain control of the headquarters. It turns out that for whatever reason, their headquarters have scientists that are creating these like obscene inventions that kind of like are reactionary or counterproductive because they end up accidentally unleashing them into their own headquarters. And they had created a super rat called Algernon, and there's also a second one that's a white called Chi Chi. And what happened was Algernon escaped, and this super rat has the ability to not only speak English, not only the ability to basically be Hitler, and he he has the ability to command mice in swarms and turn them into weapons. And they take over the headquarters. And Mogi gets like captured by them. Mogi couldn't do anything about it because he's afraid of mice. And the lovely angels trying to figure out how to defeat these mice. They even tried to get cats. They got a van, a vehicle full of cats, but the mice are organized, and the cats are just like a mob, and they get overtaken. They get overwhelmed, and they end up running away. And Argonon is setting all this up because he is tired of the scientist using him for experiments. Because this episode goes deep into these type of things. For example, the Argonon is so smart of a mouse. He questioned why he should be used as a tool by a scientist that he knows is inferior to his intelligence, and he rebels, causes this whole rebellion. Chi Chi is like his partner, I suppose, because it's the second mouse that has very high IQ and ability to speak, and they both kind of become the king and the queen of the mice. And the lovely angels are kind of like they don't really know what to do, but they do make a plan though. They use another one of the scientist's inventions, which is the flea that if it bites you, it kills your brain cells, and they manage to come in there with it, and they get captured. But it was a distraction because they actually used the fake flea first, and they pretended to get bit by it and act all loopy and whatnot, and they were able to free Mogi and use their robot friend to come in and basically save all of them. And I felt bad for Argonon. You know, I really feel for him because I know where he's coming from. I know what he was trying to do. I know what his end game was. And unfortunately, he ends up losing to the lovely angels. And they reveal the real flea. That's the weapon. And they unleash it to Argonon to bite him to make him go back into a regular rat. And Chi Chi, the white rat, kind of comes in and blocks it and gets bitten by it. And Bob, this is not scripted. I'm running off of memory because you haven't noticed. And Chi Chi gets bitten. Argonon grabs her, runs away. And then the episode takes a completely different turn. Because I was laughing, having a good time. So Argonon sees that Chi Chi has been bitten and has reverted back to a regular mouse. And he couldn't take it. He jumps out the window and kills himself. So despite how intelligent this rat was, intelligence were not able to overcome his suicidal thoughts, and he unfortunately passes away. And all the mice start to disappear because with him gone, they're no longer under his control. And Chi Chi is just a regular mouse. The lovely angels find him, and that's the end. Yeah, that was, in my opinion, this is the best episode of the show Dirty Pair. Another one of interest is the one with blues. Now this one reminded me a lot of Waltz for Venus from Cowboy Bebop, to the extent the song that Blues Mom plays sounds like the song that you hear in Waltz for Venus. In this one, they're set to go catch an assassin, and they go to the planet to kind of figure out where he's at. They go to the bar to get information. And one thing that happens to these two a lot is they always run into really, really annoying, obnoxious, perverted men. And these two, they know how to handle them with style. They know how to put them down just with words alone. And because of this, they get into a fight, and they end up defeating them. And Kay is telling everybody, like, I need a challenge. Can anybody take me on? So the assassin was there. Blues happened to be a spectator who was sitting at the bar, and he grabs Kay and throws her out the window. That's like the only time that a man overpowers Kay, but he's doing it for good reason, because the biker gang that these two beat up are calling reinforcements, and Blues decides to help them and to save them, despite that he knows that they're after them because he overheard the conversation where they were seeking info on him. And so they kind of trust him because they feel that he might be good. And during the escape, they get followed by a helicopter from the biker gang. And Blues exposes his mechanical arm that they know is a hint towards it being Blues. And it has a cannon that shoots the helicopter down. So Kay sees this and arrests him immediately and says, "That's too bad that you have to save us because we're after you regardless." But Blues decides to use his weaponized body to kind of put them in a situation where they have to hear him out because he's on a mission, and he explains to them that he is an assassin, but his current target had killed his mom by throwing her in the fire. So they kind of sympathize with him, and they decide to help him on the mission because he told them that if they do, he'll willingly turn himself in at the end. And so they find out it's this corrupted old man who is planning to blow up a train with people. And what's funny about the episode is that Kay is handcuffed to Blues because they figured we gotta figure out a way to get this guy to not run away. So they put handcuffs on him, and it's him attached to Kay. And they tell him if these handcuffs break, or if you try to be smart and break the handcuffs, they're gonna blow up, and they're gonna take you out. And so Blues kind of deals with that. And I do love Blues' character. You know, he's very rational. He's very level-headed. He is just, to a degree. I mean, he's out for revenge, rightfully so. I would do the same thing if I was Blues. And so they find this train. They find this old man that he's trying to murder or assassinate. But this guy is trying to blow up the train. And so they go to this entire spectacle where the lovely angels are trying to save the people on the train, but they're trying to catch the old man. The old man splits the trains, and he tries to beat them so they can blow up once the second train hits the bomb on the tracks. And Blue sees that they're gonna get away, and he tells Kay, "Hey, you told me that this blows up a minute after the handcuffs." He tells Kay that, "Hey, these handcuffs blow up a minute after I break them, right?" So he shoots the handcuffs, and he rides towards the train that has the man he's trying to get revenge against. And Kay and Yuri are shocked because "Oh, what is this suicidal? What is he doing?" And then Blues ends up reaching the train and blows it up with the handcuffs, so he's dead basically. And the train ends up derailing and falling into the lava, killing the old man. So at the end, Kay and Yuri kind of just peering over the mountains. It's a world that has a planet that has dinosaurs. In this world, humans have already expanded to other galaxies, planets, whatsoever. And it's kind of bittersweet. I feel for Blue. I felt bad for Blue. But it was a fantastic episode. Now the third episode is the one that gets kind of shoved around circles recently, and that is the one with Clicky. Now this episode, it's very unique because a lot of anime does not do this as openly as Dirty Pair did. And what happened was, this is the episode that, if I could word it simply, this is the episode that is done in support of transgender rights. Because in this episode, they get hired, right? Because they're always getting hired for jobs. That's their occupation. They get hired by a famous rich person that has an affair with a secretary to find his son. To find his son named Clicky. I've heard a lot of terrible names in my life, but to name your son Clicky is he's this little manlet, but he's very respectable. I like Clicky because I'll explain. So they get hired because Clicky gets kidnapped, but that's not the case. Kay and Yuri are being lied to. Clicky has run away with his fiance, or his girlfriend, we could say, because his dad does not approve of them being together. But Kay and Yuri were lied to, and they were told that it was a kidnapping case. Eventually, Kay and Yuri learn what's going on. That the dad lied because he doesn't approve of Clicky's girlfriend. And so I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? And then Clicky's girlfriend tells the dad, "You hate me, don't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, because you used to be a man." And then Clicky, despite being half the height of his girlfriend, steps up front and says, "Well, that was in the past. What matters is she's a woman now, And Kay and Yuri are like, yeah, like why are you so close minded? There's a lot of people that are becoming transgender. You know, what's the big deal? And I really appreciate what this episode was trying to say. This is 1985. I mean, we're at 2021, and people are having meltdowns over transgender episodes in One Direct Party. And it's like they're so behind on history that what was it 95 like almost 30 years ago. Dirty Pair already talked about it. Dirty Pair already did it. They already talked about transgender rights, and people today still don't get it. They still can't treat everybody like equals. It's a shame. Yeah, but that's another highlight of the episodes. Now for the music, the opening and ending are legendary. I mean, I showed you the opening in the beginning. It's legendary. Just the beginning, the J Rock intro, the tapping of the toes, their pose with Dirty Pair. It's iconic. It's legendary. The ending is also really good. I like the art, how it's like very electronic, almost surreal, and Kay is just kind of like bopping to the tunes. It's incredible. The music in the anime itself is decent, nothing amazing. It has some good tunes in the mix. More about Kei and Yuri. So they both really care about dates to the point where they kind of trivialize their mission because they want to make sure that they make their dates. You know, Kei really loves music. There's a few scenes of her dancing, bobbing her head to the ending and other songs. Yuri likes to shop for dresses. She likes makeup, and it's hilarious how these two are. Okay, so they obviously care for each other a lot. They're like basically like sisters. At the same time, they have this love hate type of relationship where they always are kind of like making fun of each other, and it's hilarious to watch them engage each other in that kind of activity. And there are times in the series where they kind of have to, because you know a lot of their missions are very dangerous and they have to figure out how to overcome that. There are times where they kind of have to pretend to be against each other. There are times where they actually have to try to kill each other because it's just part of the mission. Because they're trying to convince people that they're on a certain side. So that's another thing that's very interesting about these two. What I didn't like about it is that a lot of it is kind of hit and miss. Yeah, like some episodes are funny, but they're not very memorable. But it's very hit and miss. It's very hit and miss. And then it doesn't really have any kind of conclusion. In the last episode, their headquarters get taken over again, which has already happened. Their boss gets kidnapped. I mean, he got shot before in another episode. It's not a big deal. And they end up, saving their boss, staying alive. But it just didn't feel like a conclusion. Just there was no kind of it wasn't even an ending. It was just another episode. But regardless of that, it's an incredible series. I would highly recommend. It's very funny. Unfortunately, it doesn't end here. I'm currently on the 10 OV. After this, there's a 10 OVA episode series that happens next. And why didn't they just make it just one whole series? I don't know. Maybe it got canceled. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. But Dirty Pair is a timeless classic. I love it. People need to get it together and figure out that the 80s had a very, very amazing period in the anime. The animation, I love it. There's the detail, just the cute drawings of Kei and Yuri. It's incredible. I love it. And in terms of episodes, I think those are the ones I wanted to mention. Yeah, those are the main three. But yeah, that's Dirty Pair. I would highly recommend it. And I'll be back with the next video on the OVA series. Oops. And who is best girl? I cannot decide. I don't. Do I even need to decide really?